Daniel Alarik, man, what's up, bro? Been a big fan of Grunt Style for a very, very long time. How are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Man, when I messaged you, I thought you were going to ignore my message. I know that we've chopped it up a little bit here and there on Facebook, like when you came down to help out during Harvey. You came down with the team of guys during Harvey, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Was that some veteran buddies or some folks you work with Grunt Style, or both?
Combination. I mean, I was down there for I think a week, and then we kept coming back and forth to was it Woodsboro for the next few months. So while I was down there for a week, I was down there with a couple vets, and then some guys from the company would come down as well. My wife and boy came down as well later on to Woodsboro to help them out.
Yeah, did you get stuck down here during the flood? Did you get trapped at all?
Yeah, so we were launching America Bourbon, and we had our first store, at Specs. I'm sure you're familiar with the chain down in Texas.
Oh yeah.
So we had that, and then we did a little launch party, nothing big, at a local, restaurant, and then the restaurant. LL Cool J was at the restaurant. It was great because he was like at a table over with his friends and family. And so I did one of those like distant selfies. I'm like having dinner with LL, even though he was like, 25 feet away. I didn't post it. I just sent it to my wife, and she's like, nice try. But yeah, and then the hurricane happened. So earlier that day, I actually flew into San Antonio, and I called a business partner. I think I was flying from like either LA or Chicago, and we're new. My family and I are new to Texas. We were in Florida during the hurricane once. It wasn't a big deal. But landing, and we're supposed to do this opening. So it's like a 3-hour drive, and we're landing. The plane's doing this thing right here. And as soon as it hit the ground, I'm like, hey, man, are you sure this is cool? He's like, dude, it's a hurricane. Nobody cares. It's just a little bit of rain. And for the most part, it was right until I got to about Houston, and it just started dumping really bad. But it cleared up. We did the launch. It was great. We go out. We have some, some dinner, some drinks. We're having a great time. By the time we left drinking, the water was like 3 feet high.
Yeah.
So went to somebody's house. They had like a 5th floor condo. Stayed there for the night. Barely got out of there. Found the one exit, so I was able to get back to San Antonio. But then some Marine buddy said, hey, it's gotten really bad. We're going back down there to see if we can help out. And then that's what happened. We went back down there. We connected with, who was it? The ATF. They helped us cut through some red tape. And we just started launching rescue missions. We delivered some food. We got a lot of people out of their houses. A lot of fun, a lot of, I think we helped a lot of people. And the company and the fans, I think we donated over $1 million worth of goods. So
yeah, I think
cool.
I remember the videos you were uploading. Yeah, I remember those videos. I didn't remember them until you just brought it up. But yeah, man. So give us a little backstory, man. Like, where was your head when you decided to serve? When did you join up? What led you to Grunt Style? Give us a little backstory.
Sure. Yeah, actually, I was in the Navy. As a matter of fact. A lot of people don't know that. So I take the ASVAB, do pretty well. So the Navy recruiter's like, great, we're going to put you on the nuclear submarine program, and you can be a technician on a submarine on the nuclear engine. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And so I'm getting ready to sign all this paperwork. I'm sitting in the Navy recruiter office. And, I'm 18 years old, I was 17 years old. And so I'm asking the recruiter, I'm like, hey, how many chicks are on this submarine? He starts laughing at me. He's like, no. And it's like an 8-year contract. It's a 2-year school. You have to make a 6-year commitment. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I'm 17 and 8 years. I don't know. It's a long time. I was a super dork anyway, so it's not like I had much of a chance to grow anyway. But, that's like 80% of your brain power when you're 17, right? So I walked right over to the Army's office and signed up there. It was in 2000. Joined the Army. I was originally communications, actually, and did that for a while, and deployed a couple times, and then I was drill sergeant with the infantry for about 3 years down at Fort Benning, and that's when I came up with the idea for Grunt Style.
Man, so where did you serve at? Like, where did you bunk out at?
So this was right after 9/11 happened. We backfilled a unit in Bosnia for about a year, and then as soon as I got home, I was home. I think it was a minimum requirement of 90 days you get to stay home. So on my 91st day, we left for another year in the Balkans and Kosovo. For the most part, they were pretty peaceful. So I was in the Balkans for a couple of years. Came back home. I was in Germany for a little bit, doing some training, and did a bunch of schools and some classes, and that's when I went to drill sergeant duty.
That's pretty awesome. So, like, how did you come up with the idea for Grunt Style, man? Like, I remember when y'all first came out, and well, I don't know about when you. Okay. I remember when I first noticed y'all. I don't know how.
Yeah, what was the first thing you noticed? I want to hear how far back you go.
I want to say it was almost 10 years ago.
Come on, 10 years ago? Nobody remembers that.
No, man, it's like, so this is how I found out about a Grunt Style. Y'all didn't have any likes on your Facebook page or nothing. When I first liked your page, I had a mutual friend that was a mutual friend of yours that probably one of your moderators on your page was sending out invites, likes, right? And so
if it was 10 years ago, there were no moderators on our page.
Okay, well, I get this invitation to like this page, Grunt Style. And that
was me late at night going through and making sure I backclick and everyone likes us.
Yeah. So I was a touring musician for a long time, so I get it. So every time I get it, somebody sends me an invitation to like a page, I'll check the page out, and if it's something I want to see, I like it, right? If it's something I don't want to see, I just might follow it or something. I don't know. But I hit the like page, and you started posting content. Before you know it, shirts started popping up, and when you guys started selling shirts, I was like, I can't afford these shirts. I finally wound up buying a bunch of y'all's shirts off eBay, not used or nothing. I just googled Grunt Style one day. I was going to try from y'all's website, and something came up before the website, and I guess y'all are selling shirts on eBay too.
Not us. Some people buy our product and sell it back on eBay. Sometimes they do it as a business. Sometimes they're doing. It wasn't us.
They're definitely undercutting your prices. I was getting them for like $20 a shirt on eBay.
That's our normal prices.
I must have been on the wrong website the first time I tried to order a shirt. Maybe I checked something off. The first time I tried to order a shirt, after shipping and everything, it was going to be like $40, and I was like, nope, can't do it. I'm a poor boy, bro.
$40. Man, you must have. Oh, we might have had some specialty shirts.
It was probably like operator error.
Were cool back then. Those things you had to charge $30 for that thing.
I'm a moron, man. I probably clicked on something I shouldn't have clicked on. But man, who designed y'all's first shirt? Was it you, or did you have a partner?
Man, I didn't have, sort of. So it was pretty much just me for about the first 3.5 years. So I designed the website, I did all the shirt designs, I did all the marketing and selling and customer service and whatever, social media. But I did actually have 3 kind of co-founders. They're not really co-founders because they fell off right away. We're all in the Army together. We're all at Fort Benning. It was 2 other drill sergeants that were my roommates, and a first sergeant. And I came to them with this idea. I'm like, hey, what do you think? And actually, one of the guys, because we're all still friends, was over at my house over the weekend, just a couple days ago, and he's like, man, did you know it would go this far? I'm like, yeah, that was always the plan. He's like, I thought we're just shoving shirts around on base. And I'm like, oh, well. But anyway, the first few months, we'd meet, and I think they were just having fun. We'd go Red Robin, grab a burger or something like that, and then we just chat about it. But none of them really wanted to do any work, and they knew. And after a few months, they're like, "Listen, we're not taking this serious. You are. It's all yours." So they all put in a few bucks, and they're like, "Just pay us back whenever." So they kind of dropped off around then. And yeah, after that, it was just touring the country and sleeping in my car, selling at events.
Man, what did they say once it blew up? What they have to say once Grunt Style blew up? Because you guys were brushing shoulders with, man, I don't know about the timeline, but I feel like Black Rifle Coffee and Grunt Style was kind of kicking off around the same time. Am I off on that? And then you started...
I think we're a little bit earlier than them, a few years. But yeah, we were, I think around the same time, we're about the same size or something like that. But yeah, I think, one thing you'll find, at least when I was more actively involved in the company, is being very public about supporting other veteran companies, even if they're a competitor. So the thing is as long as you do it respectfully, what happens is that, it's like rising tide raises all boats, you're a big patriot. So, so you may have a specific political argument with somebody, but if you know that person respects your rights, and vice versa, both of you can actually help protect the Constitution. As long as you have that basis foundation, you both can continue to exist, still have your verbal arguments, but hey, things are gonna be okay.
Man, I don't know. What do you know about Twitch, bro? If you spend any time on Twitch, you know that there's not a lot of conversations to be had with the other side. I try. I'm a really friendly guy, man. I'm a really friendly guy. I always tell everybody, like, sometimes I just go live like a cam girl, no guest, and I title it, everybody has a voice in my channel. Like, I don't care if you're on the left or what your political views are. I find it fairly easy to have a civil conversation with folks on the other side. And I'm generally speaking when I say this, because it's not all of them. Maybe it's just the community on Twitch, but usually the conversations don't go well, no matter how well-mannered and nice I try to be about it. Like, I guess my opinions on things are ultraly offensive.
Whatever, have you ever, so I mentioned to you earlier, sometimes I'll just cruise through like Drudge Report, check out some news. And one of the things that I do, and it's like a bad habit, but I'll find any article on Drudge and then look at the comment section on the news article, and I feel like I lose probably 10 or 20 IQ points just scrolling through the comments. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're talking about grown adults, and if you just sometimes I'll type F in the comments because there'll be a pretty good feud going on. And then I'll get notifications for 14 hours straight, the same group of people arguing all day. And what I don't understand about it is that's purely toxic. It's like, why would you want to do that with your spare time? Like me, I sign up for it by being a podcaster. Like, this is what I do. I talk to people that disagree with me. I talk to people that agree with me. I say I talk to people that disagree with me, but it's really hard to get them to come on to the podcast because they feel like they're putting themselves out there. Like, I just uploaded a quick little rant about the NFAC on YouTube the other day. And I'll say it here live. I absolutely love that my Black American brothers and sisters are practicing their Second and First Amendment rights. My rant was about the logistics of their rallies and their barrel awareness. And I restated over and over that I love what they're doing. I just think the logistics are a nightmare and they don't have any barrel awareness. And I went after old Grandmaster Jay a couple times because in this rally in Lafayette, Louisiana, inside of like 5 minutes while he was on that stage, he pointed his weapon at people 3 times, bullet and chamber. And throughout the rally, he had like flagged people 6 times. He even, there's a guy, damn, I can't remember his name. I used his content. News to Share. They're on Twitter and YouTube, and he was at this rally recording it live. And Grandmaster Jay pointed his rifle at that dude. Like, you could see the crosshairs almost perfectly line up with this dude's camera. And I was getting like 10 views per hour on this video. And I look back and I kind of made this rule that I wasn't going to ever look at the comments. Well, I fucked up and decided to look at the comments. And it was a really reasonable video. I mean, I was kind of harsh on the flagging and in the formation they were using. They're all packed in like sardines. And in the rant, I'm talking about how they should be using a a staggered column, walking the streets, not packed in too tight. You know, if a bad guy, crazy person wants to show up and do damage to your militia and you're packed in like sardines, you can't assess the threat. You don't have a sector of fire. Create some spacing, actually have a formation, and maybe people will take you a little bit more seriously. And that was kind of the message during the 6-minute video. But bro, the comment section got pretty hostile. And there was no conversation to be had. I actually invited one of them. Hey, why don't you come on the podcast? You got a YouTube channel. You can come chop it up with me. Silence. They don't want none of it, man.
Right. I used to do that on Facebook all the time when I was doing all the engagement and whatnot. This is years and years ago. And people would like call me out for some stupid thing or something like that and whatnot. And I'd always reply back. I mean, it could be anything, right? You can always find someone who's angry with their life is going to find you and want to share how they're angry or whatever. And I would always, reply back, hey man, sounds like you're angry. Why don't you stop by this address and I'll buy you a beer? If you don't want the beer, something else, that's up to you. And they'd always disappear, but it's just like, you call it cyberbullying or whatever, but who cares? You're just talking.
People we're in a time where like it's popular to be outraged, this outrage culture, to be angry about things all the time, and it's so binary, right? Either things are absolutely amazing or it's the worst thing in the world.
Is there nothing in between?
Yeah, most things are in between. We just don't seem to talk about it. It's like with your far leftist or your far right. I don't really claim a party. I call myself a constitutionalist with conservative and some libertarian values, if I have to put a category on it. But what a lot of people don't realize on the right and the left is we have a whole lot more in common, morals-wise, than we think. It's just these typical talking points, like these social issues that mainstream media like to put out there all the time. And one thing that I argue for the most is like you're paying attention to mainstream media and they keep us arguing about all these social issues. And some of these social issues are important, but we have some way, way worse, deeper rooted issues that are just being ignored. And what I come to find out when I talk to more people on the left, like the civil ones, the ones that I have a conversation and not get offended by your views, is I find almost 100% of the time that we have a lot in common, a ton in common. More than you would ever expect if you were paying attention to social media and mainstream media.
No, I would agree with that. I mean, I think news is probably the biggest proponent of why everyone thinks things are going to spring into a revolution. And I even said everyone thinks that because you have 80 channels and whatever news outlets telling you that. And it's absolutely not true. And if it was true, it's because they're fueling it. So, I mean, if you have one news channel, right, that's talking to one segment of the group and says, look at the world's on fire, these people are going to riot, blah, blah, blah. And your news says, I'm actually here. It's like 8 people and it's not that bad. Guess what? The person who's telling you the truth really isn't getting the viewership, which means they're not getting the ad revenue and their business isn't growing. And so what are they going to do? They're going to make it more sensational. And it's just, they're all competing for the most sensational story, just kind of pulling things apart. And then they make it 24 hours a day with the latest updates, top 10 things you need to know to survive Seattle or something weird. And it's just going up. It's just getting, hotter and hotter and hotter. It's turning straight into yellow journalism, if you recall that term from the Spanish-American War.
Yeah, we don't have any, well, I don't want to say we don't have any real journalists out there. We have alternative journalists that I feel like do pretty good work. But as for mainstream media, they're all about the clicks now. Like they don't do the work, like all these questionable, I hate to even say the word questionable, but all these questionable police interactions. It's like as soon as it happens, there's a Facebook video that gets uploaded, and mainstream media is reporting on it and already pimping their agenda and their narrative before they have any of the facts. And then cities burn to the ground because of their actions. And it's
I don't think their narrative is, maybe not their narrative. I don't think their motivation is political. I think they're playing to a political crowd that they already have an audience of because they can get more of them involved, which gives them more money. I think it actually just boils down to money for most of the news or the larger news organizations. I don't think they care about an agenda or a political narrative, but I do think they're playing a crowd to get more viewership so they can make more money.
What would your opinion be on this? Like I've said it multiple times that I think mainstream media should be held accountable for the repercussions of their false reporting. Like with some of these, like I said, some of these questionable police encounters we have. And almost all of them, except for one, almost all of them, after all the facts come out, the police did what they had to do. You know?
So
cities didn't have to burn, you know?
Well, that's true. So I think you got two things there. You know, one of them is, you know, waiting for the facts to come out. And that's not new. I mean, there's an old adage that the truth is putting on its shoes while a lie is halfway around the world, right? So it's not new. What the problem we have today is it's just much faster because of digital media. But the second problem is you know, if you adhere to libertarian beliefs and the Constitution, how do you inhibit them yet still respect the freedom of speech and press?
Well, I mean, I can't list the legislation right off the bat, but before the Obama administration, and I'm not saying that they did it, right? I'm not saying that they did this, but before the Obama administration's news stations and journalists were required to report accurately. Now, I believe in everybody's First Amendment right, 100%, even the mainstream media. However, sometime during the Obama administration, they got rid of the legislation which required journalists and news stations to report accurately. And ever since that happened, it's gotten out of control. Like, I don't even watch the news anymore because of it. And it's not a bias by me. It's not like I don't watch leftist mainstream media. I don't watch conservative and Republican media either because they're just as bad. They're just as bad. They're trying to reach the outrage culture. They're going after those angry cliques. And it's almost impossible to know what the hell's really going on in our country because the mainstream media is turned into almost a reality TV show that's scripted. It's terrible.
So the issue I would personally have with if we had to go back to some sort of legislation, I would absolutely refuse to allow any type of politics or legislation from politicians to govern what I can say or do. When it comes to free speech or press. I don't think they should have any authority in that, which leaves us in the Wild West. But, you know, I suspect, you know, and again, you as a libertarian might appreciate this.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a libertarian. Like, I don't believe in the party system. I think that it's failed our democracy because, you know, it divides the nation. Like I said earlier, descriptive wise, if somebody needs an absolute explanation of what I am, I would say that I'm a constitutionalist with conservative and libertarian values. And all that means is I believe in freedom. And I agree with you that the legislators should not have anything on the books that hinders my right to free speech and my First Amendment. However, they did have legislation on the books at one time, and I'm not saying the mainstream media abided by that, but for some reason it seems like, I'm 37. It seems like when I was younger, I seen journalists putting in the work and doing the work. And it may not have anything to do with the lift on the legislation. It may be the technology, social media, internet. That's probably more likely that it's the internet and everything's a click away is the reason why things have changed. But it still doesn't change my opinion that I wish that journalists would do the work. And I don't consider myself a journalist. I report on things and I talk about things. I get things wrong. But a lot of the times when I'm getting shit wrong, it's because there's no good source to get my information. It's a wreck. Nobody does the work anymore. You know?
So that's what I suspect is going to happen over the next, it could take 40 or 50 years, but I think we're in this wild, wild west of digital media where you could actually, with, you know, $1,000 produce the same quality content as CNN, someone with a multi-million-dollar budget, right? And because of that, there's just a lot of shit out there, right? Anyone can do it. And then CNN has to compete. So now they have to become more sensational as well. So it just turns into a mess. But I suspect over the next, 40 or 50 years, that it's going to start to refine itself where reputation is going to start to seriously matter. And if you violate that reputation, everyone knows. You think back, back in the 90s, when you go checking out the supermarket, you have your magazines, right? You see Life magazine, Time magazine, Popular Mechanics, and then you got your tabloids with, aliens and grandma, having babies in the porch or something like that, right? Your reputation is going to matter. I think digital media and competition has eroded a lot of that, but I also think that over the next few decades, people are going to start coming around to that. You're like, you know what? This is enough for me. What's really happening? And a few entities are going to rise up out of that. Maybe they don't exist yet, but I suspect they will. I think that's just the natural evolution of things when it comes to digital media.
Man, there's some really good journalists out there that are doing really good work, that are kind of neutral, that I wouldn't consider them conservative or on the left.
Who do you like?
Huh?
Yeah, who are your favorites?
Man, I'm trying to think of this guy's name. He actually went on Joe Rogan. I've watched some of his videos, but I watched so many it's hard to keep track of all of them. And he was a Democrat at one time. I don't know what he is right now, but what he does is he kind of reports from a non-bias, and he kind of does what we all do now. He just has all the time in the world to do it because it's what he does for a living. But he basically looks at everything available, everything, and then comes to the most logical, formulated narrative of what he thinks actually going on. And he's 99% accurate all the time. Fuck, I'm embarrassed that I don't know his name, and he's probably one of the one I watch him the most. I'm just having a brain fart right now. Fuck, he was on Joe Rogan once. I'm sure you've seen him. He's a chubby guy with glasses. Fuck.
I see that every day in the mirror.
But yeah, man, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a rise of folks like that. These big YouTubers that put in the work, and hopefully their content doesn't get molested by agenda, and they keep reporting the way that they're reporting, because right now that dude right there is my best source of information. Like, the first thing I do if I'm trying to talk about something is I watch his opinion on it, because he's already done all the work for me. He's looked at this stuff.
And I think that's the future. I mean, you're like, okay, I need to lean on someone's reputation because they're reliable. And that's eroded a lot. So a few stars are going to come out of there. And I think that's going to be the way of the future. There's always going to be noise in yellow journalism. But I think there's going to be people with our organizations with standards over the next few years, because we require it.
The problem with that, and the reason why we get so much bullshit is I'm experiencing it now. I started my YouTube channel over a year ago. I uploaded this interview with Dan Crenshaw, and I never uploaded anything again. I took a break from the computer, the internet, Twitch, all that shit for like 8 months. And I stayed quiet on social media, and with all this rioting and COVID, I just was doing the family thing. And eventually it started to get to me, and I got a bug up my ass one day and was like, I'm going to start doing this again. And what I found out real quick is everybody pulls the trigger real quick. And if something's happening right now, there's a million videos of somebody talking about it. And so for me to report accurately, I'm always 2 weeks to 3 weeks behind, because I'm not the guy that's trying to report now. Sometimes I'll give my opinion, like, with the Kenosha deal, with what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kyle Rittenhouse. And the thing is with Kyle Rittenhouse is the only reason why I could even report or talk about that is because the day it happened, there was tons of videos uploaded, and there was enough videos uploaded for me to give factual commentary about what was really going on. I'm a gun guy, right? There was plenty of videos for me to be like, yeah, this is 100% self-defense. I could report accurately on it. But like, some of these questionable police encounters that you see, you might see one cell phone recording, then you see it on the news. But how do you report on that? You could talk about it. You can like point out a couple of things, but you have to tread lightly, or you're the asshole that reported too soon. The thing is there's so many competing YouTubers and talking heads on social media that if you try to report fast and you try to get into the game quick when you need to, the fire revolving the story kind of passes by.
Yeah, and that it's so tempting. I would imagine that you have to post as much information more than the other guy, faster than the other guy, if you want those views. Because if you're a few minutes late and you have less information, or you don't have something new that somebody else has, you're losing views. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of these people view this as just a business, and that's really what they care about. How many views can I get so I can make more money? And it's a shame. I see this in a lot of brands. Grunt Style being a brand, I see that with a lot of other brands, where they come up as the premium brand of snowboarding or outdoor this or fishing or whatever like that, or even purses, right? And after a while, somebody, I don't know if there's a shift in their corporation, but there's a shift where they're like, hey, we can make more money if we drop the quality a bit and drop the price. Well, they keep doing that year after year after year. Next thing you know, they're a fraction of the price, they're garbage quality, and then you might as well be picking your purse up at Walmart. Nothing wrong with that, but you did erode what took, maybe a decade or two to build as a brand in just a few short years.
Yeah, man, I can't disagree with you on that, man. I see. It's a moral thing. Like with the Kyle Rittenhouse ordeal, that was easy for me to talk about. It was easy for me to go live on Twitch and say, this is what happened, this is what we've seen, this is what it is. But like I was saying, in some cases where you only have a narrow view of a short clip of what a lot of these police encounter videos, and these are a lot of time, this is the kind of stuff I talk about because I stand on the side of the police. I generally 100% of the time give police the benefit of the doubt, considering there's millions of police encounters every day. Every day there's millions of police encounters. And what do we have? Like a handful of questionable situations that happen a year that usually come out to be justified once all the facts come out. So those are the things that I want to report on. I'm like, I want to talk about this. And I do. And I'm like, this is what we know. People want to jump to conclusions, like with the Breonna Taylor case, man. And I didn't say anything about the Breonna Taylor case for a very, very long time. And the reason why am I having issues? Okay. The reason why I didn't is because the day of the video upload, the day it happened, the media was basically reporting.
There you go.
You can hear me now?
Well, I can hear you. It's just I noticed when I'm looking at you on my screen, I'm looking the other way on what's being shown. So it looks weird. No,
it's okay. I'm looking away too. Like you're on my left screen. I got 3 monitors. It's not a big deal.
I switched it, so now it looks like I'm looking at you. Okay. Like Foursquare, or what is it? I don't know. One of those old shows. Hollywood Squares.
But yeah, basically like with the Breonna Taylor case, the day of the incident, the news is reporting on it. And it was so sketch of a situation for me that I didn't talk about it at all. It was I heard what the news said, and in my common sense brain, I was like, that's not what fucking happened. And I was 100% right.
If you talk about that and you make it mute and say, listen, we don't know all the facts. It could be this or that or something else. Let's wait and see. And then you have 18 other neighbors that are saying, this is what happened. This is what we know. This is what we heard. Here's 2 expert witnesses that weren't there that are, are sensational, right? They're getting all the views. I mean, I'm saying that it's not fair. It's not right. But I get dogpiled on anytime I try to talk about one of these situations before all the facts come out, because I talk like that. I'm like, come on, guys, let's pump the brakes here. This is what we know. And I try to talk with some reason. It's like, hey, there's millions of police encounters every day. What are the odds that this was some textbook shit? It was just some cops that are human beings that were scared and just trying to make it home to their wife and kids.
And what are the odds that they did what they were supposed to do? Well, in the Breonna Taylor case, she had been under investigation since 2016. They found a dead body in her rental car. So the cops knew going into the situation that, hey, this is a little hairy. They had a no-knock warrant signed by a judge, which I argued in a couple rants on Twitch that is what we should be protesting, is that judges should never sign a no-knock warrant unless somebody is in immediate danger of death or bodily harm. It puts our police officers in a dangerous situation, and it also puts the civilians in a dangerous situation, because you come in my house, I'm a gun guy, right? I'm going to try to identify the threat, but it's dark in my house and my door flies open and it's this dark silhouette that's not supposed to be in my house. I'm going to shoot, man. I'm not going to wait.
Heck yeah. You know, when we're doing the hurricane rescues in Harvey, we're new to Texas, right? So we're going out, we're doing rescues all day, and then the sun goes down, and we're going through the houses, banging on the door, and then someone from the sheriff's department's like, "Hey, man, I know you guys been out here all day. You need to go home." I'm like, no, there's so many people that still need help. We're out here. He's like, "No, you don't understand. This is Texas. It's dark, and you're on some property. They're going to shoot your ass, and they're going to be perfectly right to do it." I'm like, "See you tomorrow."
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when it comes to your wife and kids, that split second that you would try to identify, you could be putting your whole family at risk. So I understand 100% of the situation, but like, they had the no-knock warrant, they still knocked, they went in, they were shot at, they returned fire. Breonna Taylor was the one that was shot and killed. I don't know the facts beyond that, whether she was the one that was armed, whether it was the guy that was armed. All I know is if I was a cop and I knocked on a door and I went in and I was shot at, I'm going to return fire maliciously. And sometimes in a gunfight, people that shouldn't have been shot get shot. You know, it's one of those symptoms of combat, that sometimes innocent people get hurt. And
I mean, and you know, police in general, you know, very tough job, like you said, right? You know,
impossible job,
and make it to retirement, right? And every day I got, you know, I'm going to do 18 stops. You know, one of them's going to shoot me. You know, they don't know. They got a tough job. But just like when I was in the Army, and just like in business, just like there's police officers, there's some rotten apples out there. There's some pieces of garbage that shouldn't be wearing that uniform, right? If you're a cop, you know that's true, right? Just like when I was in the Army, I know that's true. I'm like, wow, you're a pretty rotten person. You shouldn't be here, right? And that happens. And they give everyone else a bad name, and they make it really difficult for everyone else. They make everyone's jobs worse, especially people who are just trying to, you know, take care of the community and their family. That's all they want to do. But, you know, you can't get away from rotten people. They're going to exist. So what do you do?
And you can't run from the media, because they're going to report right now and you're the enemy. Man, police have an impossible job. As a matter of fact, my last podcast was came to be a friend of mine. I like the shit out of this guy. We're buds now. His name is Isaac Lockwood. He's a competition shooter, ranked 9th in the nation and in his division. And he's also a sheriff's deputy out of California. And it's something that we talked about during the podcast, that policing is an impossible job. It's a lose-lose situation 99% of the time. Very little reward, pay is low, and only about 10% of our population in this country has the mental stability to do what they do efficiently. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a bunch of people that are cops that shouldn't be cops.
Yeah, so like I was saying, one of my Army buddies, drill sergeant buddies, came down last weekend. So it's usually 3 of us get together. That he was one of the other guys with us when I started the company. But he's a cop up in the south side of Chicago, and he couldn't get away. He works nights, and they wouldn't let him go because they can't hold on to enough cops. So it's him and 2 others that are holding down half this town all the way through the night. It's insane what what they're asked to do. I mean, it's a lot of hard work and stressful. I mean, he's got 3 kids. You know, he's a great guy. He's definitely the example that I think every cop would want to be. I mean, certainly in my opinion, he's a fantastic dude. But a tough job. You got strangers who hate you. You have strangers who probably want to shoot you. You have strangers, and none of them who it is. And it's not everyone. Most people actually like cops and appreciate and respect them. But as a police officer, you just don't know. Every interaction is a mystery.
Yeah, every interaction might be your last.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of most of the people in this country don't look at police officers for what they are. They're just human beings on a job, and they're just as scared as you are. And there's some things and some steps you can take to show them that you know that and that you respect them. And really, it's up to us as civilians. It's up to us to see how the encounter with a police officer goes. I think that's something, and my viewers are probably sick of hearing me say this because I say it almost every podcast, is we need to kind of change the social construct of how Americans view police officers. Like when we view a police officer, maybe not you, but your average Joe that might have a little bit of weed in his car looks at a cop as an authority figure, scary, that's going to take me to jail. When you should probably not look at him like that. That's just Bob, right? He's got a wife and kids, and he's got to mow his yard this weekend, and got to go to church, and his wife is on the rag, and she's pissed off, and she's nagging him while he's at home, and maybe he just left a scene where he had to zip up a 2-year-old in a body bag because of a car accident, and he pulls you over, and now you got a camera in his face going, "Am I detained?" Yeah,
So you bring the point. So this comes back down to the justice system, which is the second last line of defense for freedom that we have as Americans. And I say second because I think the last line of defense is our Constitution, Bill of Rights, etc. That's it. That's what's etched in stone for the most part. And as soon as that's eroded, then all hope is lost. But right in front of that is our justice system, which has a lot of problems. Should someone get locked up for having, a couple ounces of weed on it? I don't smoke weed. But you're not hurting anybody, so I don't care. Throw a fine. Like who's the girl from Full House? They sent her to jail for trying to bribe her daughter into school because she cared about her education. You sent her to jail. You know what? Absolutely get it. Punish her. But punish her by saying, okay, your daughter's not going to that school, and you're going to pay for 10 underprivileged people who can't afford that school, and you're going to write that check, right? Don't send her to jail. What is that doing? It's putting a tax burden or a burden on taxpayers. That doesn't make any sense. That's not justice. That's just punishment, and that's not what the justice the system is supposed to be.
Man, the justice system in this country is a fucking mess, man. The prison for profit system is a mess. It's the justice system doesn't actually do what it's called. It's not serving any justice, right? The war on drugs revolves around organized crime and the black market. And anybody that knows anything about anything, we've seen it. There's a prohibition on alcohol. We see what happened when you made alcohol legal again. Guess what? The mafia disappeared almost. Right? They had to change businesses, right? So I agree with you 100%. I think that a person's consciousness is the most intimate and sacred thing to being a human being. You, everybody. And I think that the guy that's just wanting to smoke a joint after work while he's at home, he's not hurting nobody. He's got no criminal record. It doesn't matter if it's a joint or whatever his vice is. I don't think that we should be locking that guy or that gal up and treating them like an animal. I think that's an issue, and it is a huge burden on taxpayers. I think in Texas, I might be getting this wrong. Maybe I got a moderator that can fact check me. It's like $60,000 a year to $40,000 to $60,000 a year to house an inmate in Texas. Taxpayer money. That guy could just be in there. That guy could just be in there for having a pound of marijuana,
$22,012 as of 2015 for Texas.
Dude, I was way off. I'm such a fucking...
Prison population, 149,159. This is all 2015, of course.
Yeah, so 22. All right. So let's, how many inmates do you think that we're paying for that are in there because they got high or because they were they forgot to turn their blinker on and they get pulled over and they're like, I don't want you to search. And the police officer brings in a canine unit and they got mushrooms or a little bit of any kind of dope on them and they don't have a criminal record and they're not on it. They're not intoxicated. They're not hurting anybody.
Right.
And now this person could be potentially going away for up to 10 years, especially if it's something like cocaine.
So that's the problem, because that's not justice, that's punishment. So then relabel it to the Department of Punishment, because you're just punishing people for doing something illegal, right? Whether it's legal or not, that's for lawmen to decide. But if we really want a true justice system, then we need to deliver justice itself, right? If you're putting someone in prison, it's because we as a society say you need to be removed from society for a specific reason, right? Is it because you smoked a joint? No, you don't get removed from society for that. That you didn't impact society in a negative way. Did you bribed your daughter into college? Okay, you don't need to be removed from society. You're going to pay a big ass fine, and you're going to pay for 10 people to go to college. You can't afford it, right? Yeah, that's justice. Punishment is just, you're getting spanked all the time. But, after a while, either you're going to be immune to spanking or you're just going to have spanking everywhere, which the United States does. We have so many people incarcerated. I think it's like 1 or 2 out of 100 people, more than almost any other country in the world as a ratio. It's insane what we do there. And it's not justice, it's punishment, and that's wrong. We need justice. And I'm sure the victims, even if there are a victim crime, or a victim to crime, that they want justice as well. Sending someone to their room for the next 20 years, for whatever reason, is stupid. White collar crimes, and it was a big deal during, Down with Wall Street or whatever the movement was 10 years ago. Sending them to jail. I mean, outside of something absolutely criminal that was hurting people, and a lot of them did hurt people, whether there was their 401ks or whatever they did, right? Make them pay it back. Give the victims justice. Is that not what it's for? If someone robbed me, $500 or whatever like that, and or mugged me or whatever like that, and you send him to jail for 6 months, what the shit do I care about that? I want my money back, and then he can pay damages and then do some community service and learn how to contribute as an appropriate member of society.
And also it's fucked up if somebody steals $500 to $1,000 from you or steals your car or something and wrecks it. Your car doesn't get replaced, yet they go to a prison system where they work and make money. Like in California, they use prisoners to put out these fires, bro. And it's like, okay, well, for the money that you're saving by using a prisoner, can I get my car back?
Right.
Like, can I get my car back?
Don't send him to jail, and what you're going to pay for him in jail, put it in my car, because that $22,000 a year, I could buy a decent ride.
Yeah. No justice served there at all, man. Yeah, our justice system needs work. The problem is we have these career politicians that have been in office for 30, 40 plus.
Daughter on my shirt. Just noticed that.
We have these politicians that have been in politics for 30, 40 plus years, and they're just too old. They're not. We need modern solutions to modern problems. And like Joe Biden, for instance, like, come on, with the 1994 crime bill, that's his accomplishment. That thing was terrible. 94.
The Bulls were on their like 4th repeat or something like that back then, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch the debate? I don't want to get.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I actually streamed the debate live.
Debate I've ever seen. I just don't like politics, right? I'll read up on it, see what's going on.
Politics are gross, man.
Well, so I watched this thing, and I'll freely admit I voted for Donald Trump the first go around, right? I'm like, cool, interesting. Don't know him that well. Read one of his books.
He's not Hillary Clinton.
But that was a weird election. I'm like, who do I vote for? A guy who loves himself, probably doesn't know what he's doing, and Hillary. I didn't know what to do. So anyway, I was sensing with him, and my opinion has changed since then. I'm like, you know what? The president should be someone that my son, I should want my son to become, right? Very difficult to say right now. So I'm like, let me watch the debate, right? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I think I'm very fiscally conservative and very socially libertarian.
You sound like me, man.
Except for I do believe there should be at least some level of safety net for people who are on hard times. All right. Structured, of course. I mean, shouldn't be just giving shit out, but it should be structured and disciplined. So people are like, hey, sounds like you know how to get back on your feet. We're going to help you get from point A to point B, where we're going to, et cetera. I think that should be there. We should be a kind society.
And we have the money to do that. It's just our money. The taxpayers' money is allocated to bullshit in this country. We have politicians lining their pockets instead of taking care of the people. The money is there, so I 100% agree with you on that. The money is there.
Watching the debate, right? And my first thing is like Trump, a bit of a bully, and he was absolutely hilarious. I was rolling laughing the entire time.
He's a stand-up comedian, man.
The only problem with that is I'm pretty sure everything he said was he just made up on the spot. I mean, if it was true, I'm like, oh, this guy's brilliant. I'm pretty sure he just made it all up. And I fact-checked some of it, and it's hard to tell what news site is one fact and the other one's a fake. It's hard to tell now. And then I'm watching Joe Biden, right? And I'm like, oh, let me see what this guy's going on. He's been doing this for 47 years or whatever, right? A lot longer than we've been alive. I'm like, let's see what this pro has to say. I thought the guy was having a stroke on stage. He couldn't like one sentence was really difficult for him. And then every like 3 or 4 seconds, every 3 or 4 minutes, he would just look at the camera and then go through a very rehearsed, hammed speech and then resume. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is this is the best? I'm like, all right, we all know what Trump is by now. We've been watching this for 3.5 years. And then I'm like, but we have like 330 million people in the United States, and this is the second best?
It's embarrassing, bro. What do you think the rest of the world is fucking saying? Oh, Jesus. This is, okay, you remember back in the day when they came out with that movie, Idiocracy?
Yeah.
We're there, bro. We're there.
The president of that movie of the United States was he was a reality TV star. Right?
But he is. He is.
It was weird. So then I looked up Libertarian Party. I'm like, oh, great, you got 2% of the vote.
Well, hey, at first I was fired up about Jo Jorgensen. A lot of the stuff she was saying when she first popped her head up, I was like, this is it. She's the one. And then I started researching her foreign policy and her policy on the border because I live in Texas, and I was like, oh, what a shame. Like, you have so many great ideas, but you want me to move some people into my spare bedroom, and I'm just not cool with that. You know what I mean? Not literally, folks. Not literally, folks.
Yeah, it was just weird. And I'm like, I don't know. Just awful.
Man, one politician I really like. Well, there's two politicians I really like. Let's put this out there. One on the left that I completely disagree with on everything, but is generally a really decent person, and she's an active soldier in the Army. Tulsi Gabbard. I like her. I don't like her policies. I don't like her views on things, but she's a respectable person. She could be a decent leader. The other is Dan Crenshaw. I disagree with his opinions on red flag laws. I actually talked to him about this, and what he said is, well, obviously I wouldn't be behind any red flag laws that didn't apply the Constitution and due process. Well, the problem with red flag laws is they never, ever are constitutional, and there is no due process when it comes to the red flag laws that are on the books across the states or whatever. But these politicians are the future. They're young. They're Dan Crenshaw, man, Navy SEAL. Like, who doesn't want that guy leading the country?
I don't. I definitely pay attention to people with military service when they're running for any type of political party. I think it gives them a benefit of a different perspective. That's refreshing. And I wish there were a lot more vets in Congress and whatnot. But I don't know. I know a lot of people in the Army, and not a whole lot of them I would want their opinion in political office.
Well, I mean, I man. So I don't. I'm pretty sure you know this about me, man. I'm not a veteran. I'm a militia guy. So all my brothers that I love, all my brothers and sisters are veterans. Most of the people I hang out with, my friends, and I know exactly what you're saying, man. Not all of them are mentally capable of. Some of them aren't even mentally capable of getting into boots in the morning with their hangover. But Dan Crenshaw, he's a smart dude.
With the same thing. I'm not. That's what I'm not.
He's a smart dude, and I think the only thing that I've noticed that really stands out to me that he got wrong was when he came out and started talking about red flag laws, which is almost a career killer as a Republican in Texas. Like you're a congressman out of the state of Texas. Red flag laws shouldn't be even something that you bring up. If you're considering it, you shouldn't talk about it. Like you should keep that shit on the down low, bro. That's crazy because the problem with red flag laws is this. There's just so many logistical problems. So let's say that red flag laws are a good idea. You have a neighbor that's crazy. He's drunk all the time. You've heard a couple negligent discharges over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you're just an asshole neighbor that doesn't like your neighbor. That's the problem. That's the issue. Like, I could have a neighbor that's put a bullet through my fucking wall, and maybe that guy needs to have his guns taken from him so he learns a lesson.
It's like Chicago.
Yeah, maybe. But, like, so... Who's designated to, how much of an investigation is going to go on? So I've made the report, right? And they just run over there and take this dude's guns. Are they going to come over and see that there's an actual bullet hole in my wall? Are they going to talk to other neighbors and find out if they've heard gunshots? Or maybe he's just a crazy person and you know he has guns. Mm-hmm. It's somebody's opinion that this guy's crazy. Maybe he is crazy. Maybe he's loud. Maybe he gets in conflict with people in the neighborhood. But maybe he would never use his weapon. And the problem with red flag laws...
I believe it might be Thomas Jefferson that said, I would rather let 100 criminals go free than lock up one innocent person. And if that's the case, then you're right. Then you can't be for red flag laws. And it's just like, I'm going to have to do an appropriate investigation before I make any action.
Well, the problem is a lot of these states and counties across this country that have red flag laws, they don't do that. All it takes is one fucking phone call from some random person, and they just take your guns and then make you prove your competency later. And what does that entail? You got to go see
but you look at from a politician who's writing these laws perspective, right? When they get a story of, hey, in your county, this person called the police saying that my neighbor is acting crazy, he's got a gun, which probably happens, dozens of times a year. But the one time they turn around and shot, somebody, and now it's the politician's fault, and now they have to do something about it and be proactive, which means we all get punished, which is...
Well, that's the shit, though. That's the shit, because what do we have, like 350 million people in this country, probably close to 500 million weapons in this country, and I really feel like that if guns and gun owners were a problem, we would fucking know about it. I don't think it's really a big issue, as big as an issue as mainstream media makes it out to be. They don't talk about like Chicago. You're from Chicago, right?
I didn't live in the city, but yeah, from the area.
Yeah. So they don't talk about where most of our firearm deaths and shootings come from. They only talk about, like for instance, the Kyle Rittenhouse kid. Or the crazy person that shoots up a school, or the locally you may hear about. And really, you don't even hear. I remember when I was a kid, you would hear about the guy that stuck up the 7-Eleven down the road. It was local news, right? You would hear about that, but that's not news anymore, right? It's not news unless 5 people are shot. But they don't talk about the folks that save people's lives with firearms. They don't talk about what goes on in per se, like Chicago or these inner cities and gang violence.
A large portion of gun deaths are from suicide.
They don't talk about that either. They just lump that shit into the numbers, and they're like, guns are bad. AR-15s, take them away. And then something like COVID-19 comes around, and then every single leftist in the country that were against guns were expecting a zombie apocalypse, and now all of a sudden you can't find ammo, and every gun on the shelf is gone. Bro, Daniel, you can't even... do you want to build an AR-15 right now? Good luck. And it's not.
I went to a range with again Army last Saturday, and ammo was awfully. It was scarce. He had some 40 ammo, box of 45.
Hey, let me tell you something, dude. All right, so we have sold more firearms in this country throughout this COVID-19 thing, throughout the history of this country. And most of them are first-time buyers. What does that say to me? A bunch of anti-gun Democrats decided they needed some weaponry for the zombie apocalypse, and now I've seen it as high as this. I've seen 1,000 rounds of 5.56 the other day for $1,000. Now, to be fair, I could find it cheaper. From one click away, but that price tag was there, and $1,000 for 1,000 rounds, an 18-cent bullet for $1.
Wow.
Bro, when this shit was hitting China, and America wasn't talking about it, like it wasn't even. It was on some people's radar, but it wasn't on mainstream media's radar. I'm sure it was probably on politicians' radar, but they weren't talking about it. Bro, I went and dropped like $1,500 on food. Made sure I had some toilet paper. Made sure I had a bunch of ammo. Like, I got a whole shelf stacked up, and I was good. And then the panic hit America, and I probably was the only person in my neighborhood with ammo and toilet paper, dude. If I hadn't been...
My wife, she for the last 2 years, she's been on this like toilet paper subscription service. And they ran out, but they kept, because they had to protect their subscribers. So we were doing great.
Hold on a minute. That's a fucking thing, bro.
We're right there. I'll show you. It's right here.
I thought you were being a smart ass for a second there. I thought you were fucking with me, bro.
It's like some fancy toilet paper. But yeah, we have like dozens and dozens, and we get a box of like 48 shipped every month or whatever. It's called Give Yourself or it's like, what's it called? Give a Crap or something like that? Oh, whogivesacrap.org.
Hey, give your wife a shout out real quick, because most Americans were standing in the backyard pressure washing their butthole after they took a shit. And your wife took care of y'all like, how long are y'all been a part of this subscription thing? Like before the panic or? Huh?
Yeah, like 2 years.
Oh, so y'all were ready to go.
Yeah, that's why we got toilet paper, so it was great.
You know what's crazy is a lot of preppers in America, a lot of these people that call themselves preppers, they don't think about stuff like toilet paper and Band-Aids. They're just like ammo, food, water. And I'm like, hey, bro, how you going to wipe your ass? And hey, I was one of those guys. I was paying attention to what was happening in China. And I noticed that Australia was having a toilet paper panic. And I was like, most of our toilet paper comes from China. Maybe I should go buy some toilet paper. And I did. Every time we went to the store, I just grab a bundle. Every time a bundle. And then about a month or two later, the toilet paper panic started. And man, I was sitting on enough toilet paper to go in business, bro.
I know. In hindsight, I should have gotten a bidet or something, like figure out how to use one of those things.
Grunt Style toilet paper.
Bidet.
Grunt Style bidets. Something. Yeah. Joe Rogan talks about bidets a lot. I just don't know how I feel about that. Does it get the job done?
I had the opportunity one time. I gotta tell you, it was a bit intimidating. I'm like, I'm gonna walk out here with like some wet ass pants.
Bro, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a little sketch to me being a dude. Maybe I need to put my man pride down and just try one out.
Hey, listen, after I hit the toilet, sometimes, the stars are aligned and you take a shower. It's like the same thing, right?
Well, there's a bunch of folks having to take a shower during this COVID thing, bro. They blew the COVID thing completely out of proportion, man, the media and shit. This whole thing's been a nightmare. You moved to Texas just in time, bro. Because Texas, man, Texas has sucked a little bit in certain cities and counties. You're in San Antonio?
Yep.
How bad was it in San Antonio? Where I live, it was like, it didn't affect us at all. Like certain stores were like, wear a mask, but they weren't enforcing it. Like if you went in there, they just wanted your money. They didn't care. Because all these grocery stores and gas stations and stuff during this COVID thing, they're making a killing. Millions of fucking dollars. Everybody's trying to buy everything on their shelves. This guy's not got a mask on. Who gives a fuck? He's spending money. That's how Texas was. How was it in San Antonio?
We took it pretty serious here. I mean, the mayor was on TV like at least once or twice a week, going through his report or whatever. It was masks required by April, $1,000 fine. It's still like that right now. Masks required anywhere you go. It's pretty serious.
$1,000 fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. Yeah, man. I haven't worn a mask through this whole thing, man.
You haven't worn a mask at all?
I mean, at work they require us to wear a mask, and I kind of half-ass wear it. I'm a welder, man, so like I can't have a mask over my nose, fogging up my glasses, and I can't see when I'm welding. So what I did was went to the guy, the owner. I was like, look, man, if these guys are staying in their areas, I mean, it's about 15 feet in between me and the next guy, so it's like, hey. Why the fuck?
That's fine. 15 feet's fine. I think it's the 6 feet. I don't want to be breathing on some strangers.
Yeah, it's like why the fuck I gotta wear a mask? And the stores that require it, I'd put on a mask and stuff because I gotta go in here and get groceries and shit. But what I found out real quick is most of these stores didn't give a shit. They just want your money, right? And I love my immunity system, so I was like, bring on the COVID. Like, I was the weirdo that was like, hey, let me catch this shit real quick so I'm immune to it later. Like, I know that sounds crazy, right? But I was like, flu season, I'm like, let's get this shit. Let's just get it out of the way.
Right. Well, so, like, from my case, I'm like, I always try to be conscious. I got 2 newborns, and then I live with my in-laws, and one of them's over 80. I'm like, and my wife's going through cancer treatment. I'm like, I got people that are sensitive to any type of additional illness. So I gotta be careful. You're in
a different situation, so I completely respect that. Like,
I do understand your immunity thing. I always told I tell this to everyone. Everyone's prepping for the zombie apocalypse. I'm telling you, the first zombie that walks down the street, I'm gonna lather up my neck, put a little butter on it, some salt. I'm like, nice.
No, you're not.
Getting on that game, the better chances you are of being the zombie king. I mean, I think there's some political thing on there that the movies never describe, but there's some zombie in charge. And I think if you get in early, you got a good shot.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I took COVID very, very seriously in the beginning, man. I went and bought I'm a prepper dude. So like when the COVID thing was hitting, I was like, I wasn't real concerned about it, but I was like, I'm going to take this seriously. Like I straight up went out and bought all my family gas masks. My kids got little kid-sized gas masks and cartridges and shit. And, I did the sanitizer thing and was just telling everybody to be careful in the house. Hey, be careful when we go out. My 5-year-old, he'll lick doorknobs if you fucking let him. And, I had to stay on his ass when we went out. I had to stay on his ass when we went out in public, but as it started to go on, and it was on for a few months, and I didn't even know a person that got it, and then I finally got tested and found out I had the antibodies, which means that I already had it. I was like, hold on a minute, I'm gonna keep licking doorknobs. Yeah, I want my immunity system to be strong.
30% of people who get it don't show any symptoms whatsoever.
Well, I kind of remember back in the beginning of the year, I kind of remember getting sick, and it lasted longer than most colds and flus did, but it wasn't like I went to work every day. Like it wasn't like I remember getting sick and it drug on for like 2 weeks, and I'm assuming I'm not factual that that's when I had it, but this was before the news was even talking about it. Like that was the last time I got sick, so it's a good chance that I just had a cold or a flu, and maybe I got COVID and didn't have any symptoms. I don't know, but where I work, they required us to go get tested, and a bunch of people that got tested positive and then went to a paid site, went to a doctor's office, and then they tested positive at the free site, tested negative at that. And I was like, well, I tested negative, but I want to go test too. I want to see if I got it. So I went and tested.
There was a report. This just came out, I think, maybe a month or so ago, that said that the antibodies only last a few months for some reason. It's a strange phenomenon with this type of virus, where they don't typically stick around like a normal antibody.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I tested at a free site, tested negative, and decided, hey, I'm going to go to a doctor and have them test me again, which I tested negative again. But they tested me for the antibodies, and they were like, hey, you tested positive for the antibodies. So I was like, oh, okay. So I had COVID and I didn't know about it. And I guess that's probably what's scary. And I don't judge you at all for taking it as seriously as you do. I mean, I still am. I still am to an extent. I'm just not afraid of it like a lot of Americans are, I should say.
Sure. Do you think the Donald is he back to full healthy or what?
Man, do you even believe he had it?
I mean, he didn't take great precautions, and he's around a lot of people.
It's very possible. I'm just not sure I even believe he had it. I don't want to say that he didn't, and that's carved in stone or nothing, but I'm just skeptical of the whole thing. It was like they said he had it. 3 days later, he's popping up and he's flexing on camera. I'm like, bro, you're in your 70s. Then again, I tested positive for the antibodies, so it's possible. I thought that it would be a very good political play for him.
So what I was reading something earlier today, and it said that they're suspecting that he actually had it days before he announced it, so that he would get through the debate and all the follow through after that. But then he would also appear like he recovered quite quickly. I don't know. Who knows? I don't think there's a whole lot of.
So what we're saying is there's a chance that he knew he had it and went to the debates anyways.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been a shithead thing to do. Hey, I mean, what can we believe? We don't know, man. We don't know. We don't know what to believe anymore. I mean, that's why our democracy has turned into a joke of a reality TV show.
It's pretty rough, but it is. I think the biggest thing is the dynamic of communication now has changed so many things. But there's always been ugly politics in America, and I don't think it's exclusive to our country. I mean, you can go back to, was it James Burr and Andrew Jackson? I mean, things were really nasty back then too. They just couldn't communicate as fast, and you couldn't comment on there like some 11-year-old on YouTube.
Yeah, social media has definitely changed the dynamic of communication in America. It's almost anybody can just get out there and blot out any of their opinions, and they can say these are facts, blah blah blah. This is facts, and it's really hard for guys like us that typically rely on facts, and we're searching for facts, and it's just like, where are the facts at? Is this true? Is that true? Like, and then we get called tinfoil hat motherfuckers when we don't believe the initial mainstream narrative on things. It's like, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying that, you know, a lot of the things the mainstream media says isn't fucking true. And it's crazy how fast the mainstream media gets caught in a lie and how quickly the American people forget. And just a few days later, the same mainstream media is reporting on something else, and they believe it. And anybody that doesn't believe it, it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. And it's like, hey, bro, 3 days ago they said this and it was wrong. You know, what do you believe? Like, what's his name? Fauci. You don't need mask. And it comes out later that, well, maybe we need masks, but I said that so that our first responders could have masks, and fuck y'all. Which is not logistically, that wasn't a bad idea, I guess. Our first responders and the people that work in hospitals and doctors' offices, yeah, they need masks before us, right? But maybe you could have said that instead of saying, oh, you don't need masks. And now all of a sudden masks are important. You had the CDC saying that masks don't stop the spread of COVID, yet in San Antonio you get $1,000 fucking fine if you get caught.
This is what I want to see from a politician someday. This is the person that gets my vote. I want them to come out and say, you know what? After seeing additional evidence, I've changed my mind. But we don't get that. Instead, you got someone coming on there like, I've been doing this for 40 years and everything I've done has been flawless and perfect and I'm always right. Vote for me. That's all you get. You change your mind, you got some new evidence, great. Change your mind. I change my mind all the time.
Did you just quote Joe Biden?
I did not. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. You completed a full sentence, so you didn't actually quote Joe Biden. Oh man, I keep having issues with my system. It just keeps glitching on me. But yeah, man. So I'm as a fan of Grunt Style. I hate to get to this, but we need to get to it eventually. So let's first of all, do you want to talk about Grunt Style and where we are today? You don't have to.
I'll answer anything you want. I don't care.
So are the rumors, well, I wouldn't say rumors because, well, I mean, they could be rumors. Are the rumors on the internet true about Grunt Style right now?
There's a lot of rumors on the internet about Grunt Style right now. Which one do you want me to address?
That you're no longer a part of Grunt Style, or is that still in some sort of legal talks? Or maybe I'm read fake news. Maybe it's fake news. I don't know.
So I still have some shares in it, but I had an unexpected investor partner come in, I guess that's what you call it, about a year and a half ago, a little over a year ago. And then they just, I don't know. So I was an employee.
Oh no, this was the worst time ever for this to happen.
Still there? Oh,
yeah. You just had a little lag right in the middle of. So what you had said was you had an unexpected partner show up and then you glitched out for a second.
I don't hear much.
You can't
Can you hear
me? Yes. So hold on real quick.
I cannot hear you. Interesting. Let me check my settings again.
Can you hear me? How about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. I just left call and came back and it fixed it. Bam, we're back. That was the quickest technical issue I've ever had on my podcast. Isaac Lockwood, he was using his phone with Bluetooth headphones, and his Bluetooth headphones kept disconnecting during the podcast. It happened like 3 or 4 times. So the last thing you said was you had an unexpected partner just pop up.
Yeah, I come into the business. So I still have some shares or some equity in the company, but they removed me from my CEO position, and then was it a little over a month ago they fired me.
But you created the company. How does that work? So I'm not a business owner. I don't know, but how does that work as a founder? And you were the guy that slept in your car, and you basically were a homeless person building your company. You're almost a homeless vet. You're almost a homeless veteran building this company. How does it get to a point to where somebody that's not involved through the whole ordeal show up and all of a sudden have the ability to make those kind of decisions? Is it like you start selling shares and portions of the company and taking and investing, and how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I would have done differently, but it was never. I never meant for Grunt Style to ever be owned outside of the company itself. It was never meant to have an outside investor. But that's there's some things I'm not savvy at in business, and I've learned since then. I mean, think about every day I'm learning something new when I was running the company. I never ran a business before. I just read everything, talked to anyone I could, and we tried to learn, and we learned a lot, and we did a lot of great things. But some things wasn't savvy enough on, and now I don't run the company and don't have a job there.
So I hear you were talking earlier that on the side that are you leaving Texas?
Am I leaving Texas?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. My wife has she's got some cancer treatment she's still going through. She's it's going to be another 12 months that we have to stay here in San Antonio, but we are selling our house.
Yeah, you were talking about selling your house, and I was like, I hope he doesn't leave Texas. This is the greatest state in the country.
No, we like it here.
And it's great, man. We're happy to have you, dude. I was super excited when I heard you were moving to Texas. I was like, man, maybe I can have a beer with this dude one day. But then you moved to San Antonio, and I'm just a poor boy north of Houston, and I'm like, fuck it. Maybe one day, man. Maybe we'll drive down there and have a drink. And me and my viewers on Twitch and also YouTube will all be praying for your wife, man.
I appreciate that.
She's good to have you, man. You're a hard worker. For you to turn Grunt Style and what it is today, if I was sick, I'd want you on my side for sure.
It was our 12th anniversary last Sunday. You want to see what I got her?
Let's see it, man. Let's go, baby.
I didn't tell anyone outside of our family. I mean, I got it for her. I felt like it would be weird if I post on social media or something like that, because I'm like, this is for her. So hey, look at that little booby shot. I wrote her my card on my chest.
Man, that's awesome.
What's Saturday for Sunday?
What's it say, man?
I'm gonna read it backwards.
You don't remember what it says?
That God found two broken hearts, and He mended them together to create one that's alive. And it says to Elizabeth, the lover of my dreams, the mother of my children, my partner in this adventure we call life. I love you forever. And then here's a heart, and it's got our initials carved in there.
Man, dude, that's so awesome, bro. Bro, you're a catch, man. You're a good dude, man. I'm glad she found you, bro.
I can tell you that the marriage has been really, really difficult at times, especially with the business, her illness, son, and I left for the Army when we first got married, left her pregnant. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but I think through all that, it's made us nothing but much better together.
Man, I think that as I repeat myself so much because I have a personality and people on the internet don't realize that and they get annoyed by it. But I just said this my last podcast. It's like us as men, we spend our whole lives looking for a hot chick that will put up with our bullshit.
My wife's pretty hot, and she puts up with my bullshit. Sometimes she doesn't put it up with it.
Yeah, they keep us grounded. They keep us in check. That's what Isaac Lockwood told me. He said, my wife keeps me grounded. And I was like, yeah, mine does too. But sometimes I get out of control. Maybe I get a spur up my ass and I'm just like, let's go buy a couple thousand rounds of ammo when we need to pay rent and go shoot guns, or let's go fishing. Let's go hunting. Like me, man, I'm a decent dad. I'm a decent husband. I'm not perfect, but work at a real hard job, super competitive, work a lot of hours, and every once in a while, I need to live, or I'll go crazy. Right? Yeah. I go crazy. I think that most people are programmed. It's like this social construct we have in this country where people live to work. Right. And I'm the guy that works to live. I'm not a business owner, so I really can't do that. Maybe as much as you were able to throughout your Grunt Style career or whatever. But me, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. We're doing this. Pay the electricity bill a week late. And that's where my wife is like, nah. And then we go do it anyways. But yeah, man. Would you agree that I say that, wouldn't you agree? But I don't think I need to ask you that. I've seen how much steam you blow off. You guys had some fun.
Yeah, no, we always try to have fun. I mean, if you're going to be there 12, 14 hours anyway, might as well have fun doing it. And, I don't want to be. I had an office job years ago before I started Grunt Style, and I actually got fired. But I mean, my wife makes fun of me sometimes. She's like, every time you came home, you looked like you were like a little more dead. It was awful.
That's definitely my life, bro. That's definitely my life. It's the reason why I drink. It's the reason why I drink and occasionally smoke marijuana is because the job I work. I'm a welder fabricator in Texas, oil field state. So I don't know how much.
Sounds like a good job.
Huh?
Sounds like a good job.
It's a good job. It's a good job. I'm blessed. I don't mean to complain too much, but man, it's a motherfucker. I've been in the industry for 16 years, and everybody that is above me in the company that I work for don't know how to do what I do. So it's rough. No, you would think that that's good because generally in a company where you have smart people running it, they're like, hey, we don't know how to do what this guy does. So maybe we should let this guy do what he does. And I've been working for the same company for 13 years, so it's not like I haven't proven myself. It's, but
I've met some incredibly impressive people over my career. People you see on TV who are business masters or gurus, or they've done things that, a lot of people have heard about. I got to tell you, almost every time it is completely underwhelming to have a business conversation with. So what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying like, whoa, well, I was so much smarter. I'm not. I'm a very average dude who loves to work hard, right? But what I'm saying is most of that a projection of, oh, they're just a brilliant person who just, spits out genius, right? I've never seen it. I've never seen it. Thousands of people I've met, a lot of people who are super impressive. And I have been impressed, but it's not the instant genius. They're super smart. It's, wow, this person works really hard and he's trying to get this done. That's usually what's going to be impressive. Everything else is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a business owner, so I'm kind of not the greatest. I talk a little bit shit about what's going on where I work, but at the same time, I don't own the business. So I try to approach.
Your expertise. What I'm saying is, yeah, they might be you perceive them as super smart. But maybe they're probably average dudes like you that have experience you don't have, just like you have experience they don't have. Why they don't appreciate that? No, you're right.
It's not necessarily a lack of appreciation. So this is the situation that like drives me to drink, drives me to fucking lash out on these podcasts and go on tangent rants. not about my job usually, but we're talking about your job and my job. So we're just talking about blue collar shit. In my situation, it's working for the same company for 13 years with the people above me coming in and out, new people coming in and out that are above me. And for me, I'm a businessman. I don't own a business, but I'm a businessman. I realize that for me to make more money, I got to make the company more money. I got to come up with more efficient ways to get product out faster. I got to increase the quality of the product leaving the shop. There's a lot of things that I can do to generate more revenue for the company, so therefore I can justify saying, hey, you need to pay me more. Or, hey, where's my bonus, right? I'm not one of those guys that just clocks in and just, I'm on autopilot and all that shit. But, man, lately, bro, where I work, I got guys that don't know how to do my job, telling me how to do my job, and which is normal, America. Keep clocking in, keep paying your bills. It's every job you'll ever go to. It is what it is. I'm just a whiny bitch. But sure. Jobs that take like 2 hours turning into 2-day jobs. You know what I mean? It's like
You got paid.
Yeah, I got paid. That's what I always, dude, I'm telling you, my supervisors and shit, my supervisors and the president and the project managers, this one of the things they hate about me is they're like, what's going on? Why is this taking so long? It's out of my hands, bro. I'm just doing what I'm told. I get paid the same. No matter what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I'm told. And they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They also don't want to hear what the problem is either. They also don't want to hear what the problem is, especially if that problem is their problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sense.
So, what's the future looking like for Daniel Alarik in the business industry? You got some new ideas? You gonna get back out there and put the gloves back on, or you just gonna ride your shares?
Project on the side for a few months. It's not ready yet. Right now, I didn't expect to get fired from the company I founded. So right now I'm on unemployment, which is strange, but whatever, you got to roll with it. We'll be fine because right now I'm worried about my family's health. But some people have reached out. I'm doing some consulting work with their brands. So that's all temporary right now, but hopefully my project will be ready to go in the next 12 months or so.
Man, that's exciting. Have you noticed online what Grunt Style has done for apparel companies? Like, I don't know, you seem like a pretty centered, humble guy, but as a guy looking from the outside in, being a Grunt Style fan, there's tons of companies out there trying to be Grunt Style, bro. And you started that. There is a bunch of just average dudes out there.
Didn't invent t-shirts, didn't invent patriotism or America. Put it together.
You put it together, and now there's tons of apparel companies out there trying to do what you created. And some of them are successful, and some of them are in the beginning of the grind, man. And you inspired that. I don't know if you realize that. You're humble. Like I got Our Country, U.S. Apparel. It's another company that does shirts. Very small, very, very tiny. They're still in the stages of having a website where it's made per order by another company or whatever. But it was you that inspired that company. How does it feel to know that, like, hey, 10 years ago, I would have never thought if I was going to start I never said, hey, I woke up, I'm going to start a t-shirts company and it's going to be worth millions of dollars.
It's because listen, if you get to know me, you'll find out real quick. I get two shits about money. It's a number that you have to pay attention to in business, and you definitely take care of your family. And listen, I ain't against nice things either. We got a nice house, or we did. We're selling it, but that stuff is who cares? I mean, it's temporary, right? You came into this world without it, and you're going to leave without it. What I want to do is be able to lay down my head for the last time someday before I rest forever with my ancestors and say, you know what? I went all in. I tried to do what's right. Fucked up a lot. I had a great time doing it. I loved, I fought, I tried to please God, and deuces.
Man, I tell you what, man, you're definitely an inspiration, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fan, man. I've looked up to you the whole time that you took a t-shirt company. You didn't sell. Okay, I'm not gonna say you didn't because I don't know if you did. But you sold, from as far as I know, shirts and hoodies. Like, you didn't turn into a designer. You didn't like do pants and jeans and maybe you did.
We did do jeans. We did all this other stuff. But I'm gonna tell you. So when I started a Grunt Style, right? All my friends are like, "What the hell, dude? You don't give a shit about designer and clothes and everything." And they're right. I don't, because it was never about designer clothes or whatever. It was always about projecting or sharing an idea of pride and patriotism. That's all it was. And this was just a vehicle. The brand is just a vehicle to do that. I'm not making anyone patriotic. What we're trying to do is enable people who are already patriotic and give them another vehicle to express that.
You nailed it, dude. I'm wearing a Grunt Style shirt right now.
See, it's a really old one.
Yeah. Guess where this one came from?
eBay.
The Goodwill, bro.
Awesome.
It's the only Grunt Style shirt from Goodwill. Like, my wife just seen it. She saw the flag. And she's like, I thought you would like this. And she brought it home. And this is after I had finally... I was streaming on Twitch. And I was literally taking the money I was making from Twitch after I built my studio, paid for my mic and all my stuff. Once everything I needed was paid for, I started to spend some money on me. And the first thing I did was, as a welder and didn't have any nice clothes to wear during my podcast or stream, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy Grunt Style shirts. I was typically, at the time, I was a political podcaster, talking politics, doing roundtables and podcasts and stuff, being a conservative voice. And I didn't have any nice clothes, so I ordered like fucking 6 or 7 Grunt Style shirts. Cool. And one day my wife came home with this, and it was just a Goodwill special, and it just happened to be one of the shirts that I hadn't worn in the 5 podcasts that I've done. And so now I'm forced. I got 2 more Grunt Style shirts, and then I'm going to have to order some more shirts, because you can't wear the same shirt again in a podcast or people think you're homeless.
I don't know. It sounds like logic from like middle school.
Yeah, but you would think that. But a lot of the people watching my show are from middle school. No, I think I'm just a welder, bro. I got like 5 or 6 good shirts, and I just need to up it to 10. I think after 10, I can repeat a shirt and I get made fun of. Not that I fucking care. Just that I'm trying to grow something here on the back of your hard work.
I appreciate it. Good job.
But seriously, man, that's all I wear is Grunt Style shirts when I'm podcasting. They relay a very patriotic message that, you know, a Nike shirt doesn't. If you want to get into Nike.
Nike's a business. So the problem, like, I know everyone boycotted them for X, Y, and Z.
I didn't mean that literally, but let's hear it. I want to hear what you got to say, man.
No, boycotts never work. There's not one boycott that has ever worked in the history of American capitalism, ever. It's completely useless. They've never worked.
Okay, but saying they never work, you might be right, but I don't think that we should. I think that boycotts are important, because these big, huge corporations, that have a grip on our economy and a grip on our politics, because we all know corporations, big corp has a play in our politics, that it's important for us to do that. However, the problem isn't necessarily the boycott, it's the division in the country. Because if we all stood united and boycotted a company, well, they would go under.
What company do you want to boycott? For what reason?
Not necessarily want to boycott anybody. I mean, I stopped watching football. I stopped watching baseball. Not necessarily because I want to lose them. not necessarily because I wanted to lose money, just because I was watching our country being burnt down, every major city being burnt down, and then these football players, basketball players, and baseball players put on a T-shirt saying a certain thing of an organization that's burning down our fucking community. So I was like, fuck these people. They don't represent me. They don't know what you or I may go through.
Yeah, I'm cool with hey, you know what? I don't support what you're doing, and I'm not gonna throw money at it. That makes sense, right? I'm just saying, like, boycotts, organizationally wise, they don't work. But
they don't work. They could work. They could work if we weren't so divided, I think.
Maybe someday you'll come out and say, you know what? I was wrong. I apologize. This is what I'm doing about it. And maybe you can get me back as a customer, but
at best, I think that's what we will get. I think that these are how would I put it in words? It's
why are people on Twitch chat talking about giggling?
So look, real quick, you can address the Twitch chat if you want. As a matter of fact, I have the bladder of a 3-year-old and I need to use the restroom. So if you want to engage the chat real quick, I'm going to go use the restroom. But generally when I do a podcast, I do it live, but that's not my priority. My priority is the recording for my YouTube channel. They understand that. They know they're just bullshit. And some people come in, they don't know. But go ahead, talk to them for a second. Just keep chatting. I'm going to go drain the snake.
Wait. How long have we talking? We've been on here like an hour and 50 minutes.
Do what?
How long are we doing this for? I got twins, man. They're 6 months old. You know how many times I got to get up twice every night.
Well, if you got to go, bro, that's cool. Like, generally,
well, if you go relieve yourself, then you're like the marathon man. You just keep going.
What, do you have to use the restroom too, bro?
Me? No.
Okay.
I can hold it. I'm an adult.
I did say that I have the bladder of a 3-year-old. I did say, is that not a good enough excuse?
No, that was good. That was fine. I did too, son.
Man, if you got to go, man, we have been rocking it for an hour and 44. I usually shoot for 2 hours, but if we fall short of 2, it's not a big deal. It is what it is. If you got your kids and your family to go deal with, I'm a family man too. I understand.
That's awesome. Well, I got to tell you, I had a great time. This is probably the most fun interview I've had in a while.
Man, I'd like to do it again one day, man. Once you kick off this new company you're starting, I'd like to come on and talk about it. I'm sure I'm going to be a fan of it too. Everything you do, I like. Man, this has been great, dude. Like, when I sent you, I'll say again, when I sent you a message, like, we had chopped it up here and there before, and I didn't know if you would come on because I'm just this little dude. But man, I appreciate it, and I'm expecting this to be one of my best YouTube uploads.
When someone asks for an interview and they want to do some work together, whatever, I can tell you I have never looked them up first because I just don't think that would be fair. I mean, we all started from nothing. Everyone had to start from nothing at some point, and if that's how I'm going to base where I'm spending my time on, that doesn't, I wouldn't appreciate that when I was starting from nothing. You know what I mean? So I don't want you, so you just take that out of the equation. Don't even look. Just, sure. Do I have the time? Do it.
Man, I appreciate it, but to be fair, I understand. Like, some people, I always drop my YouTube link. I'm like, go check it out. Some people are like, hey, you talk about some stuff I don't want to get into, and I respect that because some people don't. And intelligently, like, it's better for people in the public eye not to get into divisive social issues, right? They can make more money that way. If I don't know, if I'm a Republican and you're all fuck Trump, well, I'm all like, maybe fuck you. And that's not necessarily how I think, but that us as a society, the tribalness that we are, that's how we act. Like, if you're not on my team, well, then fuck you. And so I get it. I get it sometimes when people that are in the public's eye, people that own companies, people that are talking heads on social media, if you represent something that they don't agree with or something that's going to fire up their following, I understand that certain people don't want to talk to people like me because I'm very, very zero fucks given. I say what's on my mind. I say what I feel. You see what you get with me. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I'm getting better at voicing my opinions about things to where they're less offensive. But when I first started, I didn't give a fuck about anybody's feelings. And now I'm moving into, not because I'm trying to get on better guests or nothing, but now I'm realizing that I get more out of people and I have better conversations when I don't bring my emotions into the conversation. And I learn more about the person I'm talking to or the group that they're a part of. But when I first kicked this thing off, man, I was kicking over buckets. I was at war. I was like, I was angry. I started doing this because I was angry, and got some angry videos out there.
Yeah, what going on? What grinds your gears?
Yeah. But man, again, dude, I really appreciate it, man. Your family's going to be in my prayers. I wish you the best, and I hope to do this again. So, you got my number. I got yours, man. As soon as you start kicking it off, if you want to come on here and talk about it, it may or may not reach a whole lot of people. Some of my shit reaches a lot of people, some doesn't. I'm in the beginning stages of this, just like you were 10 years ago with Grunt Style. I'm going to keep grinding at it, and I hope you keep grinding at whatever it is you're doing, and I hope to hear about it soon.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk soon. And hope you make it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm tired of breaking my back.
It was a pretty serious concern. Just want to make sure you make it okay.
Yeah, man. God bless you, brother. And keep in touch with me, man. Let's play some Call of Duty soon.
I just play with my boy, but he's pretty good and kicks my butt, so I just stay on his team, and then I win.
That's our boys. The same thing with my son, man. He's 5 and kicks my ass.
Rainbow Six Siege and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, man. Cool, man. Just message me in Discord. We'll get together and play some games, man.
I had to download it because you told me to.
Right on, man. Right on.
All right, man.
All right, man. You take care, man. God bless you.
You bet.
All right, man. Well, that was Daniel Alarik. Gentlemen, for my folks on YouTube, I love you guys. Be nice to people. Just be kind. You never know what somebody's going through or the impact you can have on people's lives. Just be good to people. Love you guys on YouTube. Have a good one.